How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence. Oh man, I've got a lot to say today. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. I actually have everything planned, but nothing planned. So that means this is exactly what happened. Right before this podcast, I was scrambling around and I was writing things down. I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. But you know what I told myself? I said, you know what? Fuck it. You know what you're going to do today, Chris? I said, you're just going to go off the top. And there's things I have in my head and they're going to come out today. I don't know what order. I don't know what I'm feeling, but you know what I'm practicing right now is living in the moment, is like feeling how I feel and just going with it. And whatever happens, happens. Guess what? I don't control your perception. I ain't looking for your validation. And this is what it is. But I could say something right now that I really believe it will be high quality. That's where I'm at. So let me start with my bullshit. All right. Let me hold your hand while I say this. You could show up perfect, all healed, done the work, again, good boundaries, confidence. And for some people, it still might not be enough. And that to me is the essence of what I want to talk about today, which is the key to relationships, your life. I think finding inner peace is self-security. Self-security. Because here's the key. We don't do this work, the work that we're working on, me, you, just to receive a result. Because if that is the case, I'm telling you right now, you've got it all fucked up. And you're starting off backwards. And I realize that in the work that I've been doing as well, which is like this entire time, I feel like I hired this coach that I'm working with. And the things that I told her that I wanted to work on, of course, my avoidance, which I'm really working on. But really what I told her was, I feel like I'm really struggling being myself, like becoming an internet personality. I want to feel peace. I want to feel happiness. And I want a great relationship. I want these results and I want these things. And what I realized is like, as I'm doing this work, I'm realizing it is so much less about the results of the things that are external to me and has everything to do with the internal building of my own inner acceptance. There's the wildest, strangest realization how everything that I've been doing in my life was to build something to create happiness in my life. Oh, that relationship is going to give me happiness. Oh, you know what? Me achieving my goals, that's what's going to bring me fulfillment, right? That's going to bring me happiness. What I'm starting to realize is it really is not like that at all. Like don't get me wrong. Those things are a great byproduct of you being your truest self and being honest and being vulnerable. That is true. That to me is like true. Like success can be a byproduct. Your relationship can be a byproduct of the work that you do internally. But what I'm realizing is I was doing everything externally to try to get an internal feeling of acceptance. If I achieve my goals, then I'll be happy. If I receive this relationship, then I'll be happy. The reason I'm doing this work is to be happy, which, yeah, I guess that's fair. But what I'm realizing again is that it's actually based on understanding what is bringing me peace in this current moment and following those things in the present. It's building inner acceptance and peace within yourself and letting the other results of your life become a byproduct of that. What was the sentence that I think I was working on with my coach? It was kind of like a lot of people, the grass that we cultivate in the front of our house is not for us. It's for other people to look at and to appreciate, and then we feel appreciated. I butchered the whole thing. But the whole idea is that we create these personas and we do these things in our life to gain acceptance from other people, to gain, security from others. Again, a relationship, the applause, other people watching, the views for me in particular, because we think that ultimately is going to make us feel good inside. But how fleeting is that shit? completely fleeting. I mean, think about it. I've grown my following to 1 million. You would have thought I'm been the happiest motherfucker on the planet. You know, I've had good relationships. You would have thought I was stable and I was chill. I'm sure you guys feel like that too right now, right? I'm sure as I'm saying this, right? You might be in a relationship. You might be single. You might have a lot of money. You might, I mean, if you don't, no. Let me not poor shame you, okay? My whole point is this though. Here, poor people, shout out to you right now, because here's the deal. Those external things don't bring you the inner peace that you thought that they would. That's the truth. What you really have to work on, the work is, at least what I'm recognizing it as, is trying to bring a more present focus to your life, understanding the way that you feel, trying to get to the right feelings internally, and letting the external fall wherever it wants as a result. If I'm meant to be in this relationship or that relationship, it will happen as a cultivation of the inner peace and security that I have, right? And the more that I can develop that relationship with myself, this self-security, the more that I can develop healthier, more grounded, more long-term relationships in my outer world. Because then I'm coming to it from a place of peace. It's not, again, false or inauthentic to me. And the craziest part is like you can go directly to the feelings of peace and happiness instead of taking this long road of thinking that, oh, well, if I build these things or if I get this goal, then I will get the feelings of happiness. No, you could actually choose to be happy right now. You could choose to be at peace right now. Now, don't get me wrong. That part is really difficult, right? This is what I'm working on right now, is like constantly bringing it back to myself. How do I build that inner self-acceptance? How do I build that inner peace? So that's some of the things I wrote down. Oh, aren't you guys excited? I know you are. Because I am, bitch. All right. This is, the work I've been doing, I love. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of the breakdown of how I've been building self-security. Because like I told you, the key is, if you build security within yourself, the rest doesn't matter, right? Because again, a lot of the things that we do is, there's two things I wrote down here that I'll talk about first, because I think these are the points that I'm making, is a lot of the times our worthiness is based on our performance, right? So again, externally, the results that I'm getting in my, external world, they give me my value. And what we're trying to do is redefine our worth away from our goals, our external goals, and we're trying to redefine it as something that we can truly strive for and be at peace with, which again, to me, is what I wrote down is, I just want to be worthy for being me. I want my self-worth to come from me being authentic and vulnerable. Now think about that if we had that as a goal versus the views. What would happen for me? What would be the difference? Would I be as stressed about the numbers and the results? Would the external validation constantly be pushing me around, changing my mood, taking me out of my peaceful mindset? No, not as much, right? Because if my worthiness came from just being me, that's it. All I got to do is bring it back to self. What makes me feel good, right? Am I being real in this moment? Am I being vulnerable in this moment? Am I being open, honest, all those things? That's all I can control. Honestly, it's actually about releasing the control. It's about letting yourself, and again, not just be dictated by your impulses. That's not what I'm saying. But getting to a place of self-acceptance over the feelings that you're having, getting way more present with yourself when it just comes to your life. Because what I've realized is a lot of people, we take these past things that have happened to us and we project them onto the future. And then we just sit in this constant loop of not feeling good enough or not feeling worthy, right? The results that we get today are the results that we think we're going to get tomorrow. We're so driven externally that we never cultivate this consistent level of peace. And I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, I'm trying to redefine this for myself, right? I'm trying to redefine what gives me my worth. Again, building this self-security, And so to this point, right, it's like my worthiness, I hope, and I'm working on, right? Because again, it's hard to let go of it, right? Do I still look at my fucking views and whatever? Yeah, sure. I'm a human being. But am I slowly starting to break down that wall? Hell yeah, I am. I'm feeling really good about it too, right? I'm learning to just really try to cultivate that. All right, was I me? Am I me? How do I feel right now? If I could stay in that mindset consistently and I could just adapt to the current moment and just, just allow myself to feel and do the things that I want to do and do the things that feel like a hell yes to me in the moment, I know I'm going to receive the things that I want. I know good videos eventually are going to come. And those are going to become as a byproduct. But again, get rid of the idea of like doing it for that reason. If I'm doing it for the reason of just success, I've lost the plot. Because again, that's externally focused. Bring it right back to self. That's what I keep reminding myself. Chris, just allow yourself to be you. That's the ultimate goal of life. All right, cool. The results I get, the results I get. But I guarantee you something. I probably be way more at peace than the next person that's running in this rat race. You know what I'm saying? Just trying, exhausting themselves to create this life for themselves that they think that they want, that they think that will bring them happiness, not realizing happiness and peace is cultivated in the present moment. I'm learning, bitch. All right. Other aspects of building self-security, the things that we're talking about here, right? Stop shifting who you are to be liked, wanted, or validated. And this is really what we're talking about. So what would make us change who we are in order to be liked, wanted, validated, right? What happens when we take our focus and we put it on the result of, let's take it to a dating context, getting somebody to like us, right? As soon as we get into that mindset, we've lost the plot because it's now not true and honest and authentic anymore. It's done. Because what you really need to do is take the focus inward. And I think that's what we're realizing about this entire thing is it's all self-work. It's all like taking a mirror to yourself and recognizing the places in which you are not being true to you. So in those moments, right, is like you have to try to really ask yourself, like, am I being real with this other person about how I feel about something or the things that I need? Or am I just trying to receive an outcome from them? And it's very difficult to stop doing that because what? We're going to have to address our fears, right? We're going to have to address the fear of being abandoned. We're going to have to address the fear of losing this person potentially. And that's really scary, right? And this is why we stay in situations that are not really true and authentic to us. Because again, we're just in this fearful mindset that we can't receive this abundance, this, the person that we really want or the person that's truly aligned to us. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are stuck in this loop of needing this external validation from a person rather than bringing it back to self and saying, what do I need from this situation? What am I feeling? Am I being really vulnerable and honest? There was something that, I wrote down that was the most real shit I've ever heard from my coach. And this actually really broke through to me really hard because I was feeling, so over the last few weeks, obviously I've been going through a separation. So that's been really hard. And what will happen is like on a daily basis, semi-daily basis, I'll just get in these random moods where I'll just start missing her. And then the question that if you're ever missing somebody, by the way, the question you need to ask yourself is, why are you missing that person? And get to the root of it, because that is really fucking important. What you realize is that some of the things that you feel like you miss from these people is actually, again, just a signal for you to look inward and say, what need is not getting addressed by me? And that's what I realized about my life too, is that the reason that I'm missing her, she is just a symbol for the need that I feel is not, how would I say, being met. I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, I don't have a lot of companionship. Maybe that's important to me. But here's the problem is, if that's the only need that she's fulfilling, then that relationship is not true and honest and authentic if we were in a romantic commitment, in a real relationship. Because companionship is not the only thing that is required in a relationship. I mean, don't get me wrong, that part is important. But how does it feel when you're dating somebody, and yes, they're in your life and it's nice to have them around, of course, right? They're there, you're not alone. But you know that feeling of feeling like, hey, I feel like I want more from this situation. Or underneath, you really dig deep, underneath, you're like, I know that there's something else here that I'm not getting. I know that there's something that's true and real to me that I'm not receiving. And maybe you are. Maybe you have somebody where you feel that sort of embodiment with them or that sort of connection, and you know. That's what I want to receive personally. But yeah, to me, it's like, that's where, again, this lack of vulnerability and this lack of self-security and this lack of self-trust comes in, especially for me, is I know that I want that deeper level of love. I know that I want something deeper than just companionship. And yeah, it's like, I don't know, that I think that's the reason I'm in this predicament right now where, again, I had to separate from this person because that's my true vulnerability. Now, let me not get away from the original point, which is this, which is the right person, right, should be able to hear your full vulnerability and your full truth. She said to me, my coach was like, the right person should allow you to speak it all. Speak it all. Because here's what was happening for me. I'm going through this separation, right? I'm missing this person. And, you know, again, I'm missing the companionship. I'm getting to the root of that. I'm like, okay, like, I feel like I almost like know that the right thing to do is to let this go because, right, it's not truly authentic to exactly what it is I'm looking for in the world, at least in this present moment. And I'm actually feeling this weird guilt or this aversion to posting my full real thoughts online because I'm like, okay, what if I post this video? Let's say it's about me talking about another girl, or I just post something that's very vulnerable about my thoughts, like, hey, I'm missing her, or hey, you know, whatever, right? I'm like, oh, she's going to see it. But what I realized is, or what she was trying to tell me and communicate to me is, the right person that's supposed to be for you, you are going to be able to admit your vulnerability fully and truly at all times. And I was like, that is real as fuck. That is true. And what I'm attempting to do by not speaking up for what it is that I want to share or what I want, you know what I'm saying? In your case, if that's what it is, you are inadvertently trying to control that person. You're trying to control an outcome instead of just being honest and vulnerable. And again, having that self-security, the self-security to know that the only job that you really have is to be true, is to understand yourself and admit that into the world. Again, if this person is the right person for me, I should be able to just be my complete self, all of my thoughts, everything, share it all, put it out online. If I go on a date with somebody else, say it. If I want to share it, share it. I can't control how she takes that. And the problem is trying to control how the other person receives that. Because then you're doing what? We're not doing the thing that, again, is supposed to bring me worthiness, which is what? Which is just be me. That's why I switched my worthiness to just being me versus, oh, if I get this goal, oh, if I get this relationship, oh, if I get this person, I'll be happy. If I get this external thing, I'll be happy. That's not true. Because you're not coming to it from a place of true, grounded authenticity. How amazing would it be to be in a relationship with somebody, and I'll speak for me, How amazing will it be when I get into a relationship with somebody where I can come on here, say whatever the fuck I want to say, be exactly who I want to be, speak it all, say it all, and I turn this camera off and that person still rides with me and that person still fucks with me. That's me being me. Truly, honestly. And if I'm receiving somebody on the other end that can handle that or that can accept that or that's in alignment with the words that I say, nothing better. That to me is the relationship that's going to last. And that's the thing is I'm not responsible for the way that the other person takes it. But that's what happens, right? Is like we get so scared of not getting their validation, right? Me getting the validation that she's still going to be around, that she's still this safety net for me, right? Like, because here's the thing. In this relationship, I broke up with her. She was like kind of sad. What is it? What's the truth? What's the truth? The truth is yes, I might view it as companionship, but underlying, yes, I did really care about this person. But to be honest, that person is almost just like, let's be real. Do I really want her to move on? Not really, right? Now, the genuine Chris, the real Chris, if I get to the core of it, I do want her to be happy. Ultimately, that is it. That's all that matters. And if that means her being with somebody else, then I want that for her. But for my own, and that's what I'm trying to say, the work that I'm doing on myself to release this external validation that I've, craved in a way. And we all do, right? We all do this. We are trying to control all these different outcomes in our life. And that's what I'm realizing as well, right? I'm trying to control the internet personality. I'm trying to control, who's supposed to be in my life from a relationship perspective. And I got it all backwards. Because what is that? That's me trying to manipulate, right? By me not sharing my full self online, I'm hurting me, but ultimately it's in an attempt to make sure I don't lose my safety net. Again, I feel like that only hurts me though, ultimately at the end of the day, right? Because I'm not making the progress on the things that I want to make. I'm not actually going to get to the goals or get to the things that I genuinely want, which is a genuine love. And success from a genuine place. Because again, I think about the same way from a success perspective, right? Which is like, if I can go online and just be me, right? I don't have to change myself, alter myself, try to control or manipulate the algorithm, or try to control myself to look a certain way for people. Imagine the freedom and the peace that I will feel. And again, not to put it conditionally on that, but again, making the condition of freedom and peace for me being me now. Not waiting for freedom and peace, living with freedom and peace. Living with freedom and peace to means being vulnerable, being exactly who you are and sharing that and accepting that. And it's super fucking hard to do. It's super hard to do. Actually, I don't want to put that limiting belief out there, right? I don't want to say that. But again, this is just a little bit of the work I've been doing to build that self-security to gain this real relationship. Quick recap. So we talked about separating your worth from performance, right? Getting it away from the external results and getting it more to just your worth coming from being authentic and being you. We talked about stop shifting who you are to be liked, wanted, validated, right? No, we can't do that because what are we doing? We're then trying to control the results again because we think that our happiness comes from the security that somebody else might bring us. No, we need to build it internally. The third thing I want to talk about is let people see the real you. And we were just talking about that, right? Vulnerability exposure. That's what it is. In order for me to build self-security, what do I need to do? I need to lean into that. Instead of protecting myself, right, and trying to control her perception of me, just admit myself. Just speak my truth. A really good question on this for you, I want you to think about, and this could be a really good journal prompt, so get out your fucking notepad. What is that laugh? But the question I want you to ask yourself is, where are you resisting putting yourself out there? Where are you resisting putting yourself out there? That is going to tell you a lot about where you are trying to control the outcome and where you are probably looking and reaching for some sort of external validation, right? That's not inner security. That's not inner peace. So I'm resisting being my real self to you because I don't want to lose this security that you're giving me. It's still uncomfortable when you live like that. Trust me. I got a new coachee right now, and she's living with her situationship, right? And think about how hard that is. Her truth is what? And this is what she told me, if we really get to the root of it, her truth is she knows she wants a relationship. She knows she wants more than what she's getting from this guy, 100%. But the problem is she can't speak her truth, right? What is her true vulnerability? Her being her most authentic self. If she was to not hide who the real her is, she would share that. She would be honest to that. She would stop changing who she was to get validated love wanted from this guy, and she would just be real. But what's really difficult about that? What's the resistance behind that? The resistance is what? How hard is it to actually separate and to give yourself that security, right? Again, that's why, this is why I said the important part is to build this. You're trying to build the self-security. And that's what I'm realizing for myself. Again, this is why I'm doing this work right now, where I separate from this girl and I'm trying to go inward and I'm working with this new coach, because this is what's going to bring me inner peace. Because think about this from let's just say in a perfect world scenario, I can go in there and just do whatever the fuck I want to her brain. Right? What I would want to tell her is hey, what is it that you really want? What is your truth, right? What is your real truth? What are you resisting? We could use this question. Oh, I'm resisting having this honest conversation. I'm resisting, moving out of this person's house because it's so fucking comfortable to live there. I'm resisting being honest about, my feelings towards this. I'm resisting, being my true full self, honestly, to this person. All right. So what would be her being her real self? Telling him the truth. Yo, I want something real. I've realized for myself that I want something serious, and I'm not just going to play house with you when I know that I want something deeper. That's not me being real. Boom. Imagine worthiness, right? Coming from her. The self-security to know that she deserves more than this. You know what it is? I think when your worthiness comes from being you, it means that you feel like you deserve what it is that you want. I think it's that simple. Do you feel like you deserve what you want? Because if that answer is truly yes, would you have any fear of being so fucking honest and real with the entire world? You wouldn't, right? Because it would be all gas, no brakes. I mean, that's what I'm trying to cultivate. And like I said, it's hard. Again, the hardship of it is the transition, right? The transition of that. For her situation, what's going to happen? She's going to have a hard conversation. She's going to have to detach from a person that's probably like a fucking drug. You know what I'm saying? She is going to go through withdrawals. She's going to have to sit with the most uncomfortable motherfucking feelings. Being in her own house again, not being with the guy that she's hung out with every single day in an effort to be her true and honest real self. And that's kind of what I'm going through as well, right? Is I'm separating from this person. I'm scared sometimes. I miss her sometimes. It's uncomfortable as fuck. I have to go for a walk because I can't even, sometimes even, sit there. I can't even do my work sometimes. But what do you got to do? You got to be present. You got to get down to the real full self. What is my true self saying? My true self is saying, Chris, this is not the right situation. You want more than just companionship. You deserve more. Live it. Be it. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but push it. You can do it. And I would hopefully influence, eventually we're going to get this girl out of here. I promise. But, my goal is to help her realize and build that inner self-security to have these conversations, to move away, to handle her uncomfortable feelings of separating and stepping into this new identity of herself, which is, I know myself, I love myself, and I could receive the things I deserve. But it starts with taking some of these steps that we're talking about, right? Again, put the worthiness on just being authentic. Your life will change because there's so much peace in doing what it is that you know is genuinely true to your heart underneath. You will not live with friction that way. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like you're living life and you're ice skating. That sounds weird, right? But you see what I'm saying? If I'm always just doing things that are true and real to me, isn't that freedom? Isn't that pretty peaceful to come and go and do things as you please? That is real to you? That's ultimately the goal. And trust me, you will receive great relationships because of that. Because you could show up intentional to somebody and think about it. If I find a girl that I genuinely am like, I see the package that I really want, and it feels like the package I want, right? I'm not going to even throw expectations on it. I'm just going to let it happen naturally, right? I'm going to be living my life in my self-security, doing my thing, carving my path, sharing my story. And if I meet somebody that I genuinely love, I could love them so fully, right? Because it's what I want to do. If I call her on the phone or I talk to her for 3 hours, it's because I want to be there. And it's because I love sharing myself with somebody that I fucking love. But think about that. Just even that in itself, I think with the right person or the person that you just genuinely love, it should feel that easy. It really should. And especially if you're both coming to it from love and you're both getting the things that you need. I'm not saying conflict's not going to arise. That is one thing that I've been working on as well too, which is like, our feelings are just our feelings. It's having awareness over them and understanding that there's going to be a positive and negative. It's not like you're always going to be at peace at all times. It's not that. You're still going to be triggered by certain things. And certain growth and certain decisions are going to be uncomfortable. Like we're talking about. Even if we're trying to be our realest self. Take the example of this, relationship that I was telling you about where she's in the situationship. The hardship is letting go of that and moving into this new era of who you are. And there's hardship in that. There's uncomfortable feelings in that. But I really truly believe it leads you to a more peaceful place ultimately. Because a lot of people, like that's what I'm trying to say. And I don't really live under this much anxiety anymore, right? That's the truth. I really don't. But there's a lot of people that are on a day-to-day basis are not feeling good about their life or they're feeling like here's the thing. You know what's funny is a lot of the people that I work with, I'll say this, the pattern that I see a lot is they don't want to be alone and sit with themselves. Because when they actually sit with themselves and they're alone, they're really unhappy. They're afraid of their own feelings and thoughts. And I think the reason that you're afraid to be alone is because you're not living your truth. Because when you're living in alignment with your truth, you don't have a fear of being alone anymore. My coach always tells me, she says, being lonely is just being disconnected from yourself. That's it. It sounds strange, right? But it is true. It's an inability to know what it is that you need and trying to ask for it or trying to receive it. Honestly. And again, a lot of people were just wearing this mask and we're getting this, again, we're being this person, this character, this persona for somebody to have this little bitty sense of security and validation from somebody, and it just never feels like enough and it never feels truly good. And this is what this work is about, is like bringing it back to self, building that security within yourself so that you can live at peace. So a couple other items that I wanted to bring up, right, is in order to do this, right, it's going to take a couple things as well too. And a big thing for me recently is risk taking. You got to be able to take risks. You got to be able to face the uncomfortableness of this. This endeavor to self-security is not easy because it's super risky. Think about the things I'm asking you myself to do, right? Where I'm saying like, yo, share everything, put myself online. The things that I feel resistant to or uncomfortable about, share them anyways. You know how hard that is to expose yourself honestly and just like honestly and genuinely, and you don't know the result you're going to get in return? And what's even worse and what's even scarier, think about the situation I was just telling you. I'm asking my coachee and my client who's avoided herself for so long to turn around and tell this situationship that she wants more. What is that? She's exposing herself. She's exposing her truth. And what can happen when you do that? You can get rejected. And that's the fear that people live under. And that's the risk, though, that you got to be willing to take. Because here's the thing. If you don't actually take that risk, do you make any progress? Do you get any closer to peace and happiness and fulfillment? No, you do not. You think it's more comfortable just sitting around and not doing shit, but you're protecting yourself to live in a place that you don't actually want to live. You got to be willing to expand yourself. You got to be willing to take the risk. That is something that I would say is part of my coaching that is huge, is like a lot of the action items that I would give a coachee is telling them they have to take the risks that are necessary for them to grow. That's really what it comes down to. It's holding them accountable to that. Right? How does Chris get to his full self? He's got to take the risk. He's got to take the risk of leaving this relationship where he knows that I do like this girl and I'm attached and I love the comfort and I love the safety. But I know that there's a better horizon out there for me. I know that there's something deeper out there for me because I could feel it. I know because my body is telling me on a day-to-day basis, and I know yours is too. The same thing with me being an internet personality, right? It's like, I have to expose myself despite the views, despite how other people might take my opinions. It's so hard. But you gotta be willing to take the risk. You gotta be willing to expose and continue to do it and make that choice over and over and over again. And this is the whole idea of also letting go of control. You can't control the outcome. You can't control the person. Stop trying to control the validation. Again, get in tune with just letting go and allowing. Here's the other thing too that I think a lot of people we get stuck on is the other aspect of building self-security is self-acceptance. And this is something that I've been really trying to work on. Again, you do the cliche of giving yourself grace. That's true, 100%. I've been really working on that as well. It's very difficult to do. I have to remind myself on a daily basis. I swear to God, I've been talking to myself almost every day, and I have to turn around and remember and remind myself, Chris, validate you. You are who you are, and just accept who you are. Every day, constantly, especially when you take risks like the ones we're talking about. It's very hard to feel worthy about yourself when you're not getting the validation, and especially when you've been so used to getting the validation, right? Think about it. Like I said, it's the withdrawal. It's the withdrawal from the validation that you were getting, right? So I'm going through the separation. What's happening? I'm letting go of this thing. And I have to accept that I am still lovable and that I'm going to still receive the things that I want, or that I'm doing the right thing by being honest. The other part of self-acceptance is also letting go of the past. Really, seriously, you got to accept where you're at, everything you've done up to this point. I tell every single one of my coachees that walk through my door, from today moving forward, everything that has happened to you, all the things that you have done in your previous relationships, let it go. You weren't perfect. You did not know. It's okay. You're not a superhuman. You're not always going to get it right. Even me, right? That's the whole idea of being who you are, is that you are imperfect. You will not get it right every time. And the other part is, and this is something that's really helped me build some self-security, is maybe realize and get deeper on the shame that you have, the insecurities that you have, the old agreements that you've made, so old beliefs. So this is something that I would say that I do with a lot of my coachees. There's two things, right? Number one is like really leaning into and understanding what your insecurities are. I'm not going to go through mine today. It's not part of this. And understanding what makes you feel shame and starting to maybe create a better relationship to those things. Because again, what are we trying to build? Self-security, self-peace, self-validation. It's all these different steps. I'm going to run through them really quickly one more time so you have them. Get honest with yourself about your insecurities, your shame, your past agreements. I'm going to talk about agreements in a second. Stop shifting who you are to be liked, wanted, validated. Separate your worth from performance. Let people see the real you. Be vulnerable as fuck. And let go of past fuck-ups. To me, that is the formula for building this strong sense of self. And to me, what will happen is then you will get to the right feelings. You will get more present. You will start to accept yourself a little bit more into the now. And guess what? The results of your life won't matter as much because you'll be cultivating things that are just truly and honest to you and that make you feel good right now. The results, let them be what they are. I've been yelling at you guys about how I want to be this internet fucking personality. And I sat with it for a second. I was like, well, how can I be an internet personality if I don't even have a personality? if I don't just allow myself to be myself. That's the most backwards fucking thing. I want to be something like external to me for what? To prove to myself that I'm amazing? I could be amazing in my own mind to myself right now. All I need to do is actually just be me and omit myself. Internet personality will just happen as a natural byproduct. And again, I'm so focused on the goddamn result, I lose the plot. Instead, I could just be happy today in this chair, sharing myself as I am, internet personalitying, I use it as a verb, and let it happen. And then beyond that too, right? It's like share my truth with all these women. If I think she's hot, I'm going to go up to her. If I want to take her on a date, I'm going to do it. If I take her on a date and I think she's hot and I think she's cool and I'm vibing, I'll be like, hey, do you want to be my girlfriend? If she wants to be my girlfriend, fuck yeah. But I'm always choosing to do the things that are honest and real to me. And again, I'm always at a state of peace. I'm never too far ahead into the future. I'm not letting my past dictate how I feel about the future. The future is unpredictable. Stop trying to control everything. That's what I told myself. But let's talk about some agreements because this shit kind of fucked me up. I'm going to be honest. So this was a really cool exercise, maybe to analyze where some of my beliefs that I'm holding on to that might be preventing me from being my truest version of myself. So agreements are like they could be either conscious or subconscious. So spoken or unspoken agreements that we've made with the people that have been closest to us. They've also can be about certain topics and subjects. The ones that I'm going to go over today are some agreements that I have subconsciously or consciously have made with my mom, some of the key ones, some agreements that I've made with my dad. I know I rarely talk about my dad on this. And it's funny, and I want to focus more on my dad agreements more than anything else because those are the ones that actually triggered me the most. And you know what? I realized by doing this exercise that this girl just texted me. I realized my number's not saved. Calm down. I got to keep the hose at bay. Jesus Christ. Honestly, let me quick pit stop. I don't really have hose. I'm going to be honest. This is me. I'm being real. I really am trying to like take a step back and do this, like work on myself. And again, not get so much validation from the opposite sex. So I could really hone in and focus in on the relationship that I have with myself. Doesn't mean if something like truly amazing, again, right? Let myself be present focused, which is if the right thing comes along, I'm going to shoot my shot. Right. But yeah, right at this moment of my life, I wanted to take a step back from like actively dating. I'm much more just like living my life. And again, whatever happens, happens. And again, this is why no fucking rules, right? Rules are just limitations. They're limitations from you just being yourself. So let me jump back into the agreements. So some of the agreements that I've made with my mom are I would obey what she says. What she says goes. She would help me as long as I did things her way. Very controlling agreement, right? And another agreement, to fend for myself. And everything in my life needs to be earned. Nothing in life is free. Don't make mistakes. This was a big one that she, I think, really instilled in me, right? She said, believe half of what you hear. Believe half of what you see and a quarter of what you hear. Be nice to everyone. Be careful of other people because people will take advantage. So these are some of either the lessons that were taught to me or things between me and her that I think I subconsciously agreed to. Just hearing those things out loud, right? The theme that I got from it for my own self was like, wow, this was like really the people-pleasing side of me, which is, again, always be nice to people, a fear of making mistakes. What she says goes. If I don't do what she says, then I'm not going to get help from her. Then she's going to punish me and take things away from me. And I was like, okay, maybe this is also why I sometimes struggle with choosing myself, right? We talked about the self-trust. So let me go into the agreements that I made with my dad. And this one triggered me a little bit. And again, I never really talk about my dad on here because I never thought of my dad affecting me like that. But I now realize after doing this, I was like, oh, fuck, it did affect me. Some agreements I made with my dad. Don't argue with me or I'll get angry. Stay out of his way when he is angry. This was the one that triggered the fuck out of me. Keep to myself and everything will be okay. And I want to stop on that one for a second. So as I was doing this, I kind of forgot how explosive my dad can be. And what I think inadvertently happened is that I just became a lot more passive in my life because I didn't want him to explode and I didn't want him to get angry. So it was kind of like, stay out of his way. You know what I mean? Like, don't rock the boat. And think about what we're talking about right now in terms of like people pleasing and not being your true self. Is that me being my true self? Keep to myself and everything will be okay? Not really, right? Is that me being allowed to be my authentic self and to share who I am and really what I want or my feelings? Not really. This was another one. And I didn't realize how controlling this was in terms of like my beliefs around even relationships. But one I wrote down is I'll show up when it's convenient. And this agreement was kind of made because in my life, like my dad didn't really ever come to me. If I was ever to go see my dad, it would be on his terms. I got to drive out to his house to go see my dad. You know, like we talk not very frequently. Again, he didn't like, if he had something to do, I would miss my basketball game. You know what I mean? Like if it was a super far drive for him or he didn't want to do it, all right, no, we're hanging out at his house today. It doesn't matter what I wanted to do. And a lot of these things subconsciously you don't realize, but they end up becoming these very controlling agreements, beliefs that you really need to examine because they shape the way that you view closeness and love. So from there, I also had certain agreements that I made with love, right? So the agreements that I've made regarding closeness and love, and you guys are going to hear avoidant written all over it. And these are all, oh my God, I'm not that I don't want to share them, but like when I was like reading these back, I'm like, holy fuck. Be careful of who you pick as a partner. Oof. Be careful of how close you get to people. Let people show you their true colors before making a judgment. Trust is earned. Not everyone deserves my love. If this gets too close, create distance. Wow. I don't want to hurt people, so be honest with them. Relationships can be distracting from my goals. Now, does that sound like somebody that can get close? Does it sound like somebody can get close to me with that? With those agreements that I've made about love and closeness? And again, from the agreements that I made with my parents, where do you think I got that from? Right? Show up when it's convenient. Don't make mistakes. Oh, be careful of other people. They're going to take advantage of you. Right? My single mother, who is still single to this day. Interesting. Right? And quickly, I will end up right in there, right alongside her, if I don't examine these and destroy these. And maybe not destroy them, but just have awareness over them. But you recognize how controlling that is, right? If I believe love is earned, then what are the rules that I then create around love? Oh, well, you need to show me that you're worth my time. It's not this openness, right? It's being closed off. If I'm so picky and choosy and I've got to be so particular about who I'm going to pick and I don't even let people get close to me, I mean, how am I going to get into a relationship like that? Seems pretty near impossible, right? So how are these agreements affecting me? They're keeping me playing small. They hold me back from my true self. They keep me from finding real love, deeper levels of peace and happiness, right? It's almost just like, and also keeps me super isolated, makes me constantly feel scared of hurting others. And it prevents me from the biggest thing, which is prevents me from being boldly myself. Oh, I've been doing a lot of work these days, man. Holy shit. Because I guess, like I said, the ultimate goal, and this is the reason behind this podcast, is like, you got to get in touch with the things that you truly believe and feel. And you got to learn to trust yourself. And you need to learn to believe in yourself. And you need to realize where these things have come from in order to change them. That's knowledge. And then I could be more present as well, right? When I'm getting close to somebody, instead of just running away and having no knowledge of like why I feel the way that I feel, I then can sit with myself for a second. If I'm present focused, right? And I could ask myself, what is this about? Is this really about what they're doing? Right? Are they really being fucking rambunctious? Think about the previous girl, right? Working at the club and whatever. And I'm so triggered. Is it really about that? Or is it really more about me not being able to trust people? Because I've built these agreements and these beliefs that maybe people only show up when it's convenient. Or maybe that I can't really trust people because people are trying to fuck me over. So, and that's where you need to have that level of awareness. And I'm working on it, I guess. So, I guess the core of all of this is like, yeah, I'm done chasing the validation. I'm really trying to get really strong in how I feel. Like I guess, understand how I've avoided it for so long. I've avoided these things. I really have. Like, because I've been shown to like almost like compartmentalize it, intellectualize it. I don't trust how I feel. I don't feel how I feel. And then as a result of it, I've been, again, running around being validated by the external bullshit. But it's led to me being what? Ultimately not at peace. Hot and cold, in and out of relationships. Not a ton of success. And again, to me, now I've redefined success as not a lot of consistent peace. Not a lot of consistent relationships. And again, just a lack of awareness over, I don't know, who I am, what I want, how I feel, and trying to live in that present mindset. That's where I want to live. All right. Well, I hope you took something from this. And if you ever want to work with me, this is what I can help you with, building that sense of self-security. And we got to get to the root of this shit. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. I love you guys.